Have you reached a point in your marriage where being in the same situation 3 to 6 months from now just feels completely unacceptable? That something definitely has to change, and yet you can't see a path forward for that change to happen. Maybe it's that your partner is constantly critical and judgmental of you, or that you've been having the same unproductive and oftentimes hurtful conversations again and again and again. Or that intimacy and sex between the two of you has faded away and you feel more like your roommates than intimate partners. Or that every time you try to talk about what's not working for you in this relationship, somehow that gets turned around and you end up leaving that conversation feeling like you're the problem. The first thing I want you to know is that you're not alone. I talk with a lot of men who find themselves in this situation. And what I want you to know is that you might be out of ideas for how to improve your relationship. And for many men, this is when ideas of separation and divorce start to come into your mind. It may not be that you necessarily want to leave this relationship. You may actually passionately not want to leave this relationship. You just can't see a path from where you're at today to where you feel like you might need to be a couple of months from now. But what if there was something else for you to focus on other than trying to improve the relationship? Because I understand that your appetite for continuing to try to make this work may be gone. And it's important that you don't feel trapped, because when men feel trapped, they start to freak out and you just want to bail. And rarely is that the right thing to do, especially if you've got a family and there's children that are impacted by these decisions. So many men, in this situation have started to think about separating or to think about what life would be like if they got divorced, but they're not ready to commit to that direction, because oftentimes when you start having those conversations with your spouse and you bring up the D word, it feels like a point of no return, that there's no real going back from that. So, I would say that many of these men who find themselves in this situation, and maybe this is the same for you too, that if I asked you, how emotionally ready are you for a divorce on a scale of 1 to 10, you might say 5 to 6. And the truth is that until you get that score up until like an 8 or a 9, you're not going to feel comfortable taking some of these actions, moving out, having this conversation with her, or potentially reaching out to an attorney. So, understanding that your appetite for trying to improve the relationship might not be there anymore, what you can switch your focus to is how to change this score. What's going to be involved in bringing this score up from a 5 or a 6 to an 8 or a 9? And here's the thing, many of the things that you would do to bring that score up will look like, and sometimes are, the same things that you would do to try and improve your relationship. It's just that the intention in the background is different. But one of two things is going to happen. And in most cases, you would benefit from either one of those things happening. The first is that by continuing to do some things now, trying to increase this score, you may again find an opportunity to improve this relationship and to take it in the direction that you've been wanting it to go. And for many men, this would be a good thing. But if that doesn't happen, and you continue to do some more things, and you continue to be met with a lack of progress and a lack of change, and things don't feel any better, although you may not have improved the relationship, you will have advanced yourself along this emotional readiness scale to the place where you may feel more confident now taking action. So, my point in all of this is simply to say there's always a path forward. And if you find yourself feeling trapped and feeling like there's nothing else to do but bail, that's the time to reach out to someone else who isn't involved in your situation, who isn't as emotionally invested, and lean on them to help you figure out what the strategy is from here and what else you can try, because there's always something else to try.